don't know if anybody here ever watched the Duggars. Well, they weren't called the Duggars. The show was called 19 and Counting. And it was a man and his wife, and they had 19 kids. And it was on TLC back in the day. And eventually it went to like 26 kids and counting. They was having like mad kids. Like every 9 months, this wife was having kids. So this documentary was literally the dark secrets behind that whole family. And just the institution in which they belonged. And why is it that this wife was having 25 kids? Like, what's going on? So going deeper into the documentary.
They didn't have
TV. I don't think they had TV for real. You know, every time. And Ali, you know what happened when people don't have no TV. But yes, they go outside and work. That's what happened when you don't have TV. So eventually what happened was they were exploiting the kids. And in this family, women do not have any rights or any autonomy over their own body.
What do you mean in this family? He had more than one woman?
No, he had one wife. But remember, it was like 25
from
kids.
The religion?
From the religion. So they went to this church where the pastor involved, he was never married, but he had like his arm in like everything. So they had their own like elementary school. They had training school for adolescents. They had training for women only, training for boys only, sleepaway camps, and they were found like all over the country.
Stick up. So this is a real thing happening.
Real thing.
Okay.
That had happened.
Multitude of families or just
multitude?
one?
No. So the documentary is about all the other families.
How many other?
No, there's no amount because so many people joined this. And
what's the name of the religion?
No, they associate as Christians. I don't remember the name of that particular church. So that's what I'm saying. He ran for either governor or senator, and that was when the TLC saw him and got interested in suing the family.
The TV show.
The TV show.
Oh, okay.
And that's how we got the TV show. So people only knew him. Like the kids were always happy. They were very submissive. They never had like any behaviors, no crying, and to have 20, imagine you having 19 kids, nobody's crying out of turn, nobody's doing nothing out of turn. It's kind of weird.
That's perfect.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you what happened. So basically they had these training manuals.
How many kids?
It started with 19, and at the end they had up to 26.
Jeez.
And none of them were out.
They should be rich selling their parenting tactics.
They are very, very rich. And the man is about to take over the church institution, which is worth billions of dollars, and we'll talk about why. Because the person in charge, he was molesting all the girls.
All the daughters?
Not the daughters.
The wives?
Not the father of the 16 kids. The person in charge of the entire organization in which this family also belonged to. So they had like a mega church that had like so many people coming there, but then they would send the kids off to like sleepaway camps for like a month, 2 months, 3 months. And then he would say, oh, I need that girl in, because like they had so many different camps.
And the parents knew this?
But the parents didn't know that they were being molested. The parents just knew they were sending their kids off to camp to be great wives. Because as soon as they got to 16 or 17, they were married. As soon as they were married.
To an older man?
Not necessarily. But they would match them to who they should be with. So you really didn't have a say into that. Because again, women didn't have autonomy. One lady in the documentary, she said, she knew that as soon as she got to 16, 17, 18, she was going to get married and her life would be better. And she said on her honeymoon, she was raped 3 times because again...
By whom?
Her husband.
Okay.
But she said she didn't know how to say no because they were never trained to say no. She didn't know that you could actually deny anything that a man asked you for.
This is all Caucasian people?
I saw black people in the movie too, in the documentary too. So it was just a weird way of brainwashing your kids. And by brainwashing them, you're literally setting them up to either become a predator or prey. And the women were automatically the prey because you couldn't speak loud, so all the women spoke like this.
You could not.
No, sir, they couldn't recruit me for nothing, right? So what was weird to me was that the mother spoke like this, and the kids listened, and all the kids followed along, right? because that's how the mom speaks. She doesn't shout. And that's something
I know a lady like that in real life.
Yeah, I don't trust them. And literally proving from the documentary that the wives were, some of them were physically beaten into submission by their husbands. And the kids were beaten into submission from they were very young. There was something that they did, which was called like, I forgot the name of it. I think it was comforter time or something, where they would put the kids on a comforter from they were like 6-7 months. And the minute they could like choose, like say, oh, I want my toy or I want whatever, they would put what the kids love in front of them. And every time the kids reach for the thing, they would beat the child. And every time they would do it, they would hit the child and hit the child and hit the child and hit the child until the child got it. Oh, I shouldn't reach for anything. So they were breaking them so early.
And these are women, girl kids or boy kids. Oh wait,
both.
It's transgender. We can't be this way.
Let's not do that today, please. Let's don't be that guy today.
The rule don't apply today?
Anyway, so basically, it don't matter. If you're a child, they literally beat you into doing what they wanted.
So how did, if the girl children.
I never said it was girl or boy. It just said babies. The babies were doing this.
So I'm trying to get to a point. So if the girl children are trained this way and the boy children are trained this way, how did the boys end up becoming
predators?
Yes.
So again, if the man of the house is acting a certain way, and you're growing up in that house with your father is the one in control, he's the one that's bringing, like he's managing the wife. And if she gets time out, she gets beaten in front of the kids. So she gets reprimanded in front of the kids. You're going to learn that role.
So how does the dad treat the boy kids?
I don't know. They never went into that. There was a guy that was there and he was talking about it too. But he kind of, and this was just one male that was talking because he and his wife got married, but they ran away. Because he said nothing.
Are men allowed to have more than one wife?
That's a good question.
This is the second polygamous question
That's a good question. I don't know.
No, it sounds like monogamy is the root of all of this, Trey.
What do you mean?
If it sounds like each man has one woman. So this is a monogamous situation going on.
It is.
So that would be the problem?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I love Ali's takeaway.
Let's bring it to current events. Why did you bring up the
Okay, so the reason I brought it up was that very, very scary was that all the kids from they were like 6, 7, 8, they started doing manual labor. They started working like really, really hard, not really focused on school, but more focused on everything else. So they would send them to camp, but at the camp, they would work for 14, 15 hours straight. No food, no break, nothing. And this would be free. The father, he had all his kids doing this show and he never paid them $1. Even when his daughters got married, started their own family, they gave them their own show. He did not give them, or even the husbands, $1 from the money. That's child exploitation. That's exploitation. And coming back to why we're talking about this today is that Sarah Huckabee and Governor Huckabee, both of them were very good friends with the person in charge of this church.
Where did the name Duggars come from? I'm trying
That's their name?
The last name of the people in
of the father and the
20 kids.
Right. That's their last name.
Gotcha.
So that was that's their name, the Duggars. The name of the documentary, everybody should watch it, Shiny Happy People.
Okay.
Right. So a lot of
there was something else that came out like that.
Yes, I'm going to tell you why this is so scary. So a lot of the people within this organization, they started training their kids in how to infiltrate politics. So how to become an aide, how to become the writer of laws, how to become a legislator, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of them worked, are working, and will work for our government. And they are pushing a lot of these laws and rules. So one thing that they really wanted to overtake was Roe versus Wade. That slashed, gone. Women autonomy over their body is gone. That was done because of this lineage, right? They believe in child work. Sarah Huckabee Sanders passed a law recently, I don't know if you saw, where 14-year-olds can work up to 30 hours a week.
She's the governor of what state again?
Arkansas, one of them places. And so a lot of the things that you saw in the documentary, Shiny Happy People, are the laws that we see.
Don't say that name again, dog. They're not paying us. She said it twice
A
already.
lot of the laws that we see happening now that we think are scary, that was the original belief of this cult many years ago. And we see that their work has literally brought them into those high places where they can actually make those decisions. I don't know if you guys know Crawford. He was in the wheelchair. Okay, so he was elected. He's in a wheelchair, and I think he got kicked out of the house or something. And a couple months later, he was arrested for either drugs or child pornography or something. One of the oldest son of this family, he was raping all the girls in the house, and the father said nothing. It was like, oh, that's normal.
But you mentioned Crawford and then you go back to the oldest
Yes,
son.
because most of the
son?
people, no, this is somebody else that was in the program. But
Crawford was a part of the program.
Yes,
Okay.
and he was one of the senators or somebody.
And now he's caught up in child pornography.
Yes,
Okay.
a lot of the males that went through this program eventually are either caught or they are involved in incest, molestation, child molestation, or pornography. So the oldest son, he was raping his sisters. Nobody said nothing, and he didn't go to prison because the sisters came on television, and they were like, "It wasn't so bad, you know. Maybe we deserve it." Mind you, these women wear blouse down to here, and their dresses are down to their ankles, and it's huge. They look like they're just wearing garbage bags. So you cannot say, "Oh, what were you wearing?" But he was still doing that, and he was overlooked. And a lot of these people are being caught up in these sexual rings and pornography. The brother was found with thousands of child pornography on his computer.
So just so we don't bore.
Yes, sorry, and then I'm done.
The reason I was saying we should talk about this on the show is because you brought up the scenario by saying these people are grooming these kids to take political office.
Absolutely.
Right? And I said to you, what's wrong with that? Black people should be doing that. Because if we did that, right? Look, so my rule is the way I look at life, like it's evolving, but currently the way I look at life is everyone who drives or walks on the street knows the yellow line, the two solid yellow lines in the road, right? And if you're a driver, you follow that line and you stay in your lane, right? But you know that line, and that line guides you where the road is going, right? I feel like there's a lot of guidelines in society that us as a people are not paying attention to.
Like what?
You just mentioned the Duggars. If us as a people were training our kids to do the same things you're talking about. Now, I'm not talking about the child labor stuff. I'm talking about grooming our kids to be a certain type of citizen.
To learn the system.
Correct.
And use it for us.
Exactly. Be able to manipulate the system for our benefit. We as a people would be different. Instead, we got, I don't know that we're training our kids to be this way, but our kids are ending up on the street corner, some of them, wearing clothes that's politicians don't wear, right? Like carrying ourselves in a way.
One of the politicians, she was a prostitute, and she is in Congress doing a lot of noise. So prostitutes are able to get into Congress and get into these places. I can tell you her name.
So you mentioned the outlier, right? You mentioned the outlier. Not like the rule.
Okay.
So I'm saying, if we as a people were grooming our kids to be a certain type of person or citizen, as a people, we would be in a different place. Like, if you talk to Jewish people, they also have a roadmap that it's blatant, but nobody's paying attention to the Jewish culture have been in existence since the beginning of time, and they have passed down their culture.
I wonder why black people couldn't pass down their culture.